Hi, welcome to episode 4 of Pepper Spotlight. Today's episode is all about writers, aspiring, professional, amateur writers. Pepper has been building a content marketing stack that helps connects businesses to content creators worldwide. Content creators help them in providing content solution and building content of any type, text, video, audio or anything. In this pursuit of building Pepper content, we built a community of 100,000 plus creators. All these creators come from different categories, different work portfolios, but majority of them are still writers. So today we thought about having a conversation about how process of becoming writer works. And we have only one question that we are answering today. In 2022, how to become a content writer? I am in conversation with my colleague Yash, who handles social media at Pepper, and we'll be discussing things over the internet, things from our personal experiences and everything, and answering to a single question, that is how to become a content writer in 2022. Welcome back, Yash.
Thanks, Yug. Always a delight to be on this show.
Yeah, today's topic was something that I find you as the best person to have a chit chat with. So you already know we are discussing about content writing and how to become a content writer.
Yes.
And this is only the format for next 10 to 15 minutes is simple. We are answering only one question, that is how to become a content writer. The Twitch is still that will be answering over from the internet added to our personal experiences. So I'll start with my first question for you to just start off with. How has your experience been with this field of content writing?
So I was a content writer before I was a social media manager. I used to write restaurant reviews and movie reviews. And this was a very unplanned journey. It's just that something I found that I can do because I love eating food. I love watching movies. And I just figured why not, write about it. And I didn't take up any course. I didn't know what content writing is back then. This is the year 2016, 2017. I just had a flair for writing because I used to love reading a lot and watching content online. And so I figured why not give it a try. So that's how I started.
Great. In from my end, I was part of a theater group where I was told that you have to read more and more. And I started reading more and more, and then I joined a writer's team. So I started writing, and it was a process that you have to read, and whatever you read, you create it in a story, in the artsy world. But when I started the corporate side or social media side, I started as a technical content writer. I used to write about mechanical engineering and civil engineering because that's what my background.
A big spectrum from theater writing to
So
technical
you have to
writing.
decide what pays. That's the only difference. The technical content writing pays more. That was the only thing that attracted to me that side. And from my times, it was like, when I say my times, I'm not that old, but it is still first pre-pandemic and second in 2018. That it was a process where it took a lot of things in terms of there's an entire process that I feel of thinking about it, researching about it, and writing about it, and then understanding what your audience takes out of it, right? So I have a very, I am a curate, I like curating things. I will ask one second question on this part is, in today's time, as in having a work life and everything, what are the three writers that you read, look forward to reading, or is it any blogs, books or newsletters or anything?
So I've stopped reading books. I don't know why, but it just happened that I now enjoy reading more of digital content, let's say blogs or Twitter threads. So there's one writer, Shefali Bhatt. She's a tech writer who also writes about the creator economy. She works at Mint. I love her detailed takes on everything related to the creator economy. And then there's Komal Ahuja. We have collaborated with her a lot in the past. She writes great content in the B2B SaaS industry, as well as I love how she tells a story on LinkedIn. And our very own Sanchari Ghosh, who helps us write social media copies and email content for Pepper.
That's great. For my end, I don't I balance it out between reading books, also having an avid email newsletter subscription, because emails are something that it's an thought process that goes for every day that you come to office. You open your laptop and the first thing you open is email. So there are very curated emails that is present. There is Austin Kleon, there is curatorship email like there are four to six Substack writers. There are 4 to 6 people who I follow them from their Twitter days when they were not writing and all. So here's what our next segment will be. We both will be Googling one common keyword, that is how to become content writer. That's it. Right. And we'll just go through all the blogs that attracts us as a person, and we'll just go through all the points, and at the end of that time we'll create our own list out of it. It is a 100% plagiarized blog that will say we'll be creating this blog in next 5 minutes from the internet. It is 100% plagiarized, and we promise we will never post about it. If you ever want to access it, you could DM any of us both and we will provide the copy to you. But yeah, we'll just go through the internet of what the internet says. Why, if you ask in terms of why we thought about this as an way of finding an answer, is because becoming a content writer has been a keyword, high performing keyword in the freelancer career space, also in the digital career space, especially in post-COVID era. And there are many freelancers, influencers, creators, agencies, etc., who have used this space in a way that start writing to earn 5-figure in different ways. It is something that some platforms provide, something in way that start your passive income career in writing and everything. And there is just shitload of information available on internet. And beyond the information comes my own perspective, and similarly our own perspective. So this activity mainly helps us in providing an amalgamation of both, in terms of providing our personal experience along with the internet's best POVs in a way that how to become a content writer, and providing that as a one solution to the people who will be listening to this.
Yes, let's get into it.
Sure. So yeah, I'll just start Googling it. If you are listening from a web or a YouTube, you can also open a new tab and do the same thing, and I'm sure you will have a different perspective altogether.
Right. So the first blog that I come across is Sanjay Shenoy's. Is that the same that you see too?
Yeah. On how to become a content writer in India. Yeah.
So what do you think? What's your take?
There are 9 steps if you go through it, and it starts with a very basic thing: go niche. However, I tend to add in this area in terms that I feel that I have met many people who have applied for Pepper as well, and who are also writing in freelance way for certain other companies or have their own personal blog. And whenever I asked about that, how did you find a niche? Their point was always that, there were 2 answers actually. One was that, yaar, main karte gaya, I just went through it, whatever the work was coming, and then I started enjoying the money aspect of it. Or second answer was that I experimented 2 to 3 areas where I find a connect with, and then I started working towards the area where I find more connect to, and selected the area which also provided me the benefit out of it, in a way that वहाँ पे काम भी available, demand भी है, और मेरा जरूरत
so step
area भी है.
Step 0 or step 1 is not to go niche.
Not according to me.
Okay, so we'll come back to Sanjay's blog after we scan other pieces of content. I found something. There's a blog from Future Learn.
Okay.
And in here they're saying the first step to become a content writer. I don't think you'll be able to guess this, Yog, but it is to write. And actually this makes sense. Writing is the first step in your journey of becoming a content writer. And I've also come across an answer from Vedika on Quora. For her, the first step is to getting into the habit of reading. And I think I can relate to this a lot, because I was an avid reader before I started writing, and it naturally helps. Being a good reader will naturally help you become a good writer. The flow of words will just come to you. You'll know how to wrap your words into a form of a story. You'll know how to grab your audience's attention. So I guess if you agree with me here, the first step has to be getting into the habit of reading.
Yeah, in a way it connects to my point as well, that you just start writing, and I feel you could only write after one point. You could write, if for example, if you have to write 1,000-word piece, if you are doing a proper freelance gig or working as a writer, you have to write 1,000 words. after first 200 or 300 words, you won't be able to go for ahead in that same efficiency as the first 100 if you don't have your own thoughts around it, and your thoughts are built only if you have read about it. Right, the research part, the read part will be the best, the main thing that works. And the read part also helps in having a cheat code in writing. That is, sometimes you have to write things that you are not much aware about, or topics that you are not much related to. But when you have been an avid reader in past, you can just play around with it and reach the minimal target point of it.
So we have our first 2 points here, getting into the habit of reading and writing. Moving on, I find step 8 in Sanjay Shenoy's blog apt for our step 3, which is get a job. Again, relatable here because I was an amateur writer, but I started applying at companies for freelance writing positions, and I got a very interesting travel writing gig. And the gig involved me writing more than 5,000 words each day about travel, whether it's a listicle or tips and tricks on traveling. So that actually, even though that was mostly on the job learning, but it actually broadened my horizon on writing. And I guess I had to follow a deadline because I was at a job, so that compelled me to write 5,000 words each day. And it eventually improved my writing skills. So I would like to put this as step 3.
I would like to put this point of getting a job to point 4 or 5, mainly because the second point was writing, right? And I feel through writing, you find a niche. So I'll again go back to the point 1 of on the same blog that says find a niche, because there are 2 kind of people that I've met in the field. There might be more. I've met 2 kind of people. One who know that, okay, I want to write in this field itself. Like you mentioned, few writers that they are proper in B2B SaaS and they will write about B2B SaaS. Some write with are good with writing in technical tech side, so they write at TechCrunch and all. But there must be a process they might have went into a few years back that brought them that success that they could write for TechCrunch or for Mint or for Quint or anywhere. And that process, I feel, comes from writing and then finding a niche and staying with the niche, even if that niche might not give sudden success at that sudden rate. I have seen people attracted to it that write for Web3 because it that point of it's a big boom, and then suddenly when you go to Web3 and you startup. And suddenly when you get around adjusted to Web3, you find that, okay, no, I want to write now about BNPL because that is a trending word right now, that what is the BNPL startups doing, and then you might come back something to a fiction writing part. And that's it, because you as a person or the writer might not have find a niche that, no, I will stay with it, right? So I'll give the next point to go niche and get a job part to a certain next future steps, and not at that part, because it is important according to me to find a niche and stay with it.
Makes sense. So as I can see it, writing and
then find a niche.
Writing about what you love is actually how you're finding a niche. So that's how.
Yeah. Once you write, how the process looks like for me also, how it went was like you write about whatever you feel connected to. I could write about engineering, I could write about certain processes, I could write about what is happening in the industry, and I could also write about some story of what, like enacting a story of what happened on that day, right?
Writing about what you love is helping you find a niche.
Yes. So after getting a niche, I would simply like to follow Sanjay Shenoy's list, that after niche, build a after you wrote, you have a niche, then you build a portfolio in that niche, that you are educated person in that field of work. Because once you have that portfolio, getting a job part becomes 3x easier as compared to you just applying for jobs and saying that I know I can write. Yeah, that will be my step 4. That is, after finding your niche, build a portfolio around that niche. That means create samples of the work.
Got it. So where we stand as of now is getting into the habit of reading, writing, building a niche, building a portfolio, and then getting a job.
Yep.
Awesome. So
then this could also become a flow chart, because if you don't get a job, you can also start a freelance career out of, like, in similar
Yeah,
process?
getting a job also includes freelancing in it. Like, so the next step that I have read here is on the Mindler blog. It says improve your networking, and this makes sense. After building a portfolio and getting a job, the next step is to how you can improve yourself, how you can upskill, and this can also happen when you meet a lot of new people in your own field, in your own industry. You can easily attend seminars, workshops, and find like-minded people, mentors who can help you take your content writing to the next level. This would mean, if you are a freelancer, this would mean getting a even better client, or if you are a full-time content writer, this would mean helping you reach your dream job or a dream company.
Yeah, and networking becomes a recurring effect that that is directly proportional to your growth. Like the more you network, the more quality of work you get, and the more validation you receive in your field of work. And it had helped me in my personal experience as well, because in Ahmedabad there were meetups happening by the name of Chai Pe Charcha back in 2018-19, and it was a time when I started writing about this engineering part, and Ahmedabad had a lot of companies in engineering part. So
Yeah.
I had a job, but I also received around 4 to 5 clients that I could write for in post of after office hours. That could, and eventually it became a point where those 4 5 clients are giving me more, like at legit 2x than the job was. That is, I'm not promoting any kind of job versus freelance, but that actually happened with me because simply networking, and without me attending those charcha or as people say meetups, there was no point I was ever going to interact with people of that caliber, of that background.
Yeah.
It was simply due to that. So that helps. So yeah, the last point you said was networking. Anything else?
So I think that's a good set of steps that we've mentioned here. I think one last step that I feel we can put up there is upskilling.
Yeah.
Even though networking will help you upskill, but a proper upskilling, let's say a course or self-learning, this will just keep you in level with what's happening in the industry.
Upscaling, I remember in our interviews with the creators that I've interacted with, there was one question for everyone that they have to answer: that how do you upskill yourself? Because I have interacted with writers who are 65 plus year olds, writers who are 18 to 19 year olds. I've also had word with writers who are lawyers in full time job, but they write about travel and B2B and marketing field in after office hours. And they make around similar, a good amount of money that is sustainable for any people living in Mumbai, Delhi, right? So I had one question on how do you upskill, and it was one thing that they work on the feedback, like keep analyzing your work and keep taking feedback from your client. If at job, from your whoever you're writing for, it could be your direct leader or the client that you're working with, but keep those feedback skills helping you. And once you have that part is to start learn, be updated with the world in terms of what kind of things people are writing, or where is this entire ecosystem leading to. So upscale will be the last point that we'll agree upon. And so yeah, there will 7 points that we collected.
Yeah, 7. So it's
Let's just summarize again.
getting into the habit of reading, writing,
Niche,
picking a niche, building a portfolio, getting a job, networking,
and upscaling.
That makes it 7.
In 12 to 13 minutes, we have a blog ready to the header of how to become content writer in 2022.
Yes.
Great.
And if you are watching it on YouTube, our video editor must have done the magic and all the points must be in front of you right now.
Yeah. So what I'll do now is I'll just present the entire points in a way a blog format works like. So I'll just start with in a way that how to become content writer in 2022. If you are looking to become a writer, here are the 7 steps that can help you in successing as a writer. Step 1.
Getting into the habit of reading.
That means you need to read more about the field that you're interested in and start writing about it. That is the step 2, that is writing. Writing in whatever areas of work that you find interesting to. From that point, you will get into a phase where you find your niche for yourself. That is step 3, finding a niche. Once you have found a niche for yourself, as in an area of work that you want to build your career into as writing, you can build a portfolio around it by writing in those areas. that is writing a blog for yourself, ghost writing for someone, writing on social media and everything. That can become your portfolio. That is step 4, building your portfolio. And through that portfolio, you can jump to step point 5, that is getting a job / finding a client, right? And once you start that might be a frictional process. That's not a cakewalk every time that you just go towards a client or a job opportunity and they might take you. So it will be a frictional process, but once you stay on the course of it, you will have your first client / gig, and post that you can start networking. Once you have your first point blog ready, your first assignment ready, you can start networking about it. You can network by going to meetups, by having a social media profile for yourself, by interacting with people, by cold emailing people that you aspire about.
And also Facebook groups and communities.
Yes, so that will be your networking part. And post that, to keep this process recurring, the last point, that is step 7, is upscale. That is, every point at every year or after every point of time, through digital revolution or through different trends and tricks, writing as a category is evolving now and then. For you to stay up to the game, you have to upscale yourself. So that's all. That's over what the internet plus what our minds say in terms of how you can become a content writer in 2022. I hope you had fun in listening to this. I hope this provides you any value. If you know any writer or any aspiring writer, you please share it with them. They might find it helpful. And if you want to access this co-created verbal blog, DM us anytime on our Instagram at Pepper, or we are just linking over both Instagram, LinkedIn's here. And yeah, if you are a writer who want to, if you are a freelance writer or a writer who want to join Pepper, you can also use this link to join Pepper. We have a community of writers that write for thousands of brands globally. And yeah, that's it. Thanks. Thank you so much.